let's ride. Unified leadership. Light the flame, turn it up loud, remember the name. Unified leadership. Power and pride, we don't just talk, we testify. Unified leadership. Heart and grind, purpose and rhythm, perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy, clappers and rhythm, purpose and rhythm, perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy, crowd on sway. Culture clay, truth and play. Sifu, Rafael, calm control, leaders in sync. Hearts of gold, focus sharp, the mission clear. Every step forward, silence the fear. Discipline, dripping, confidence, how we move together, we amplify. Who we are, unified. What we lead, unified. Stand tall, unified. Every time, unified leadership. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Steady and true, the sound of the few that follow new. Strong alive, this is the beat where leaders thrive. Unified leadership.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Coach Teal. How are you?
Doing amazing. How you doing today?
Exceptional. Getting better every day, brother.
It's good to see you, man. Every time I see you smile, man, I just get all giddy. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Excited. Listen, next Friday, I don't even know if we can do this show because we're both going to be in Tampa.
That's right.
And so we might have to do, I don't know, maybe we'll do a recording. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But I'm excited for today's show. It is, I got to tell you, the topic is, it's going to get heated, isn't it?
It always does, man. That's what we're here to do, though. That's why we're here, brother. Yes.
That's it. All right. Let's go ahead and bring out two exceptional guests. We have Joe and Bethany. Good morning. Welcome to Unified Leadership. But it is united, right?
It is united. It is.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow. It's good to see you, man. Anytime I see the name Joe, I feel good. That's my father's name. My daddy's name's Joe. They call him Joe Clay. So it's good to see you, Joe. Definitely, Bethany. Great to have you back again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Always. Let's get it, Sifu. Let's get it.
Let's do it. So command your ego. What does that mean to you? Because a lot of people will say, and I've heard it 1,000 times. I've heard other people. It's never been said to me, and I'm going to tell you why. I've heard a lot of people say, check your ego. I know you all have said it, and I'm going to tell you why it hasn't been said to me. Because if you ever see my ego, I give you 1,000% permission to punch it in the face. Straight on. Boom. But I've heard a lot of people saying ego is good because it allows you to do more. So how do we command the ego when it's for goodness or it's just for yourself? So let's talk about that.
Can I go first?
Yes,
of course you can. Ladies first always.
Oh, well, thank you. I think that ego is something that definitely we need to control because I think that ego is the one thing that can prevent us from seeing things. I think ego is the one thing that can prevent us from really connecting. And I think that ego is a blinder. But at the same time, you have the other side of that coin, and ego is also a driver. And so you have to play this balance. You have to continue to play this balance of having the drive, but yet not raising yourself above everybody else in a way that, I don't know, nobody wants to hang out with that person. Nobody likes that guy, And so there's this balance you have to play. But ego also is that fog. So it's a really interesting, I love this topic though.
Bethany, I love how you said balance because that's really what it's all about. Finding the balance between confidence and being who you are and being true to yourself and being overconfident and putting your ego first, that it doesn't matter about anyone else, doesn't matter about the mission. It's I'm always right. It's me. It's the position. It's the title. And so I love how you started off with balance because how do we drive efforts forward, especially as leaders, without putting ourselves in the front saying it has to be me? And for how I always love to do it is it about the title and position in the role? And if those things go away, are you still doing the work? Are you still making an impact? And if you decide, well, I need that title to make an impact, I only care about that title, then that's the ego. That's the thing that you care about, not the mission, not the people. So if you're doing work and you can do it from the middle, you can do it from the back, that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
I have a question, Joe. What happens if you're always right?
Mm. If you're always right, go buy a lottery ticket, Sifu. Come on. No one's always right. I'm going to share a short, quick anecdote from one time I was leading this cross team tech effort and some data wasn't flowing. And I'm like, I'm 99.9% right that it's their fault. They set something up wrong. And luckily, I caveated myself because I was wrong in that moment. And had I just doubled down saying there was no way it could be on our end, we wouldn't have taken the time and the efforts to see if it was potentially our issue. And so I think it's finding and acknowledging that balance again of okay, there could be something else. And if you be a little curious, if you be a little open to maybe being wrong once in a while, you leave that space to also grow, which I think is the most important part.
Thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
Love it.
I think every 15-year-old boy, I think between the ages of 15 and 17, that is like the definition of total ego. I don't know. I'm just saying because they know everything. I don't know if you knew this, but they know everything right now. Their ego is very big, but it's interesting to see that shift because I've seen the other side of that too. As soon as, they learn those hard lessons, but we have to go through that. We have to go through those stages of like, I think I know everything, have that driver behind us, and then fall down and be like, that wasn't a good idea. Okay, maybe I should listen.
It is very interesting when teenagers know everything, right? And you can't tell them anything. But now what happens when those teenagers become adults and they still think the same thing? And now they go into corporate, they go into the real world, and maybe they are climbing the ladder. And so we're talking about leadership with people who never understood the value of being wrong or not necessarily knowing every single thing, but allowing others to share. So a lot of times you're gonna find somebody who's in a leadership position that, man, you want to get away from them because they're constantly, it's my way or the highway, it's my way or the highway. There's no other way. This is the only way. And that can be very hurtful to everyone around them, but also in the long run, they're going to be secluded. Almost like somebody wants to take them and put them in an island all by themselves so they don't bother anybody else.
Yeah, they say it's lonely at the top with leadership. I think in that scenario, it really much is. But on the flip side, I think you can be an exceptional leader. I think you can really be making an impact with a shared vision, with people up there with you, maybe not at the same title, the same level, but if you're willing to step down from that podium and be willing to work with others and listen, there is that other end of the story. But unfortunately, we see so many times in the media and some of these large corporations where it's exactly what you said, Sifu, that CEO who has done amazing work for that company, but it's just about them. It's just about their vision. It's just about the work they do. And I can only imagine how lonely it is for them when they really take a step back and reflect on what they've built for themselves.
Yes.
I'd love to get your take on all this, Coach Teo.
Yeah, it's I was just thinking about what Joe just said. He said, they say it's only at the top. And I've been there, man. Like I've been there. And it is. It can be very lonely, especially if you got a outlandish ego. If you have uh, a mindset that is only about you and not the subordinates. If you possess, anytime there's victory, anytime there's success, oh, it's from me. I'm the reason for the season in terms of why we're successful. Big Mo, shout out to Big Mo. He always says it, man. Ego edging God out,
Mm.
edging goodness out. You can feel that G with a lot of different things. I'll be honest, Sifu, Joe, Bethany. I believe, like you said, Bethany, we all have it within us. We all have it. It's how you harness it. It's how you control it. It's how you utilize it. Because as a United States Marine, you have to have ego or you're gonna die. It's that simple.
Mm.
And if you don't have some sort of an ego in terms of, I have to make sure every man and woman to the left and right of me is safe. You can smell it like a bear from miles away when someone doesn't possess that, what we're here to actually accomplish and what we're here to actually do. So yeah, brother Sifu, when you sent me this earlier in the week that this was going to be the topic, I was like, wow, man, I've been hearing this word ego heavily for the last month or so. And my first thought on it is looking within, looking at myself. And again, back to Bethany, usually the ladies are the smartest in the room. So thank you, Bethany, because you talked about from a child perspective. I have an 11-year-old son and a 16-year-old son. And that 11-year-old, boy, when you talk about ego, Joe, when you talk about ego, that 11-year-old, oh man. But I try to use, that military experience to kind of balance that out with him. Because I'm gonna be honest, when you're solely around alpha males, think about this, you all. And for the listeners out there, viewers, I see my buddy William Chat, all the way from Okinawa, Japan, in the chat. He said ego is one of the roots of all evils. Thing about leadership is before you get to JJ did tie buckle, you have to have genuine concern. What he means by JJ did tie buckle, you all, is judgment, justice, decisiveness, initiative, dependability, tact, integrity, enthusiasm, bearing, unselfishness, courage, knowledge, loyalty, and endurance. Those are the pillars that United States Marines all across the world use every single day. 365, combat, worst scenario, whatever situation. But again, and I'll pass the mic, you all, if you have a room full of alphas, whether that's male or female, you know, there's an enormous cloud of ego in the room. And there's usually one person that'll come in and say, everybody grab your seats. And you hear all the rumbling and everybody sits down and it gets quiet. That individual usually curbs the ego. And that individual is usually the commanding officer, the master gunnery sergeant, the sergeant major, as quote, we would call the head honcho in charge. Or it could be the president of the United States. It could be a diplomat overseas. So just saying all of that together is just, I throw the question back to you all. How do we harness that ego for it to be positive, in all our dealings? How do we harness it? Sort of like Street Fighter, you see Ren Ken or whatever his name with that ball of fire. How do you harness that ego?
I gotta say, when I first came on and I said, if you see my ego, punch it in the face, it's because I've been in rooms like that where, and I've been to a lot of martial arts conventions, and the last one I was 2,500 martial artists, and you can cut the ego as soon as you walk into the room. And I was like, oh, I don't even want to be in this room. Everybody's like, look at me, look at me, look how good I am. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And that's not me. If I do have an ego, it's an ego to protect, to help, to capture someone's attention so that they shine. So that's how I use ego, right? I've never used it to say, look at me. So a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, show me what you can do. And I'm like, not a circus act. And it's okay if you want to see a circus act, I can take you to one. But, and then all of a sudden, when I do perform, right, because somebody will say, can you use that weapon? And I'll say, yes. Show me. I'm like, I will. Like right now, no. So what happens is when the timing is right, that's when I will show my skills because I'm not showing off. Showing off is your ego coming out. I'm doing it to help somebody understand what I'm trying to teach them. And so all of a sudden people go, holy cow, I didn't know you could do that. How come you don't show that more often? I said, because that would be someone else. I only do it because there's a purpose behind it. So yes, I love performing, by the way. Love it. But it has to be the right timing.
I think that when you, going back to a child for a second, and we'll go up. I think that you have the ego that's developed, in those young teenage years. And that is so important because honestly, what that is them understanding that they have so much worth and they are pretty awesome. And they want everyone to know it. And it's great. And they don't know how to harness that. And they're going to run with it. And it's going to be like, what in the world is going on? You really don't know everything. But as they hopefully develop into a wonderful person that can lead with this ego in check, this is all what we hope, they have learned that they have value. And I think that that's what's awesome. And that is the beauty of developing the ego and then being able to control the ego. Because as we control it later on, we realize that we do have this value. We do have these talents. We do have these skills. But controlling it is, we don't have to show them off all the time. We can use it. This is now a tool in our leadership toolbox to be able to pull out when we need it. We don't need to put ourselves on a stage all the time and be like, look at me, look at me. We are okay. And when that needs to come out, we can do it and we can own it. And there's, again, this balance. And that is the beautiful thing about it, because ego is a driver, but ego can also be a mist of darkness. You have to be able to really know where you're going with it and know yourself and trust yourself with it.
And I think when we're trying to harness someone else's ego, when we see that person that's up on stage, always hopping up on stage, always talking first, always saying they're right, for me, it's let's take a step back and understand why they're doing that. Are they just not at that maturity level that Bethany talked about? And that's going to take a lot of coaching. Is it coming out of a place of fear where they fear that if they don't show their best self, they might lose the position or they might not get the promotion? Or to what Bethany just said, maybe it's they're trying to show the value that they have. And that's the way they know how to show their value. That's what they've done throughout their career. That's what they've done as a leader. And so many times we see these egotistical people, but they really aren't. They just haven't had the chance to unpack some of that. For someone to sit down and ask them, what's going on in this moment? Is it fear? Is it value positioning? Is it something that maybe you do need to work with a coach or a therapist a little bit more deeply? And taking that time as a leader is, I think, our responsibility to understand that. Now, of course, if you don't have the skills and you're not a therapist, don't try to go down that avenue. Get them professional help. But to discount who they are just because maybe they do talk first all the time reflects on us as a leader as well, for us not taking ownership to create an environment. And so I think for me, it's finding again that balance of, have we done enough to help them feel secure in themselves, to let their confidence shine, but then also help create an environment that reins it in a little bit when it's not appropriate, when we need to create space for others, when we should be pulling them off that stage and putting someone else on the stage, or knowing that no one can ever be 100% right, else we should be buying the lottery ticket through them.
I love that, Joe. So powerful what you just said. You made me think of bullies. And the reason I say bullies is because a lot of bullies, they only bully other people so no one bullies them first. So they take that stage, if you will, and then all of a sudden they get a bunch of people saying, yeah, we like what you're doing. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, so being a bully is a good thing. I'm going to go bully more people. And so one of the things that winds up happening is that then they go into the business world and they're bullying people differently, not physically, but mentally, the way they talk to them, the way they treat them, and so forth. And they think that, yes, I'm elevating myself. And you're right, some people like that will need someone who actually cares for them to turn around and say, hey, what's going on? Why are you treating Mary like this or Joe like that? And so what winds up happening is, if they're willing to listen to the person that cares about them, then there's real change that can actually happen, because it's not about, there's no challenge, not of, hey, why are you being a bully? More like, what's going on? That really turns it around for sure.
Yeah, the power in a question, that distinction you just made is so important, because so many times we come in with the, why are you doing this thing? Why are you a certain way? And obviously that's going to put them on the defensive. And I love just how you put that, Sifu, that open-ended curiosity question creates space for conversation, instead of, again, pointing out the flaws, saying, you're wrong, you should stop doing that.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's you said it earlier, Joe. You talked about sometimes they just don't know, and I think we're kind of alluding to that right now as well. That sometimes leaders just don't know, like, and if they've somewhat gotten away with it, for so long, or they were just the man or the gal with this particular outfit over here, and then the dynamics change, and now they're in a new outfit, and people are seeing it, and everybody's whispering. We tend to do that, people, instead of just walking up to the bully and saying, hey, you're wrong, or walking up to the bully and saying, I'm gonna give you a piece of your own medicine. However which way we look at it, at the end of the cycle of this toxicity is basically what it is. It's like, is the person willing to step back and really assess and look? And that's why evaluation is so important. For the organizations out there, different outfits, most successful organizations definitely do have some sort of a peer-to-peer or 360 evaluation process, and it's real. I've experienced it, you all. I've sit there and looked at 35 different layouts of how everyone else in that room views me. And the one key thing, oh, you talk too much. I was like, man, I'm getting grilled because I'm the one answering all the questions and everybody else is worrying about going to lunch. But I really had to take it back to the room and really assess and look at it and say, hey, 30 people are not going to be saying along these same similar lines if it's not true, which forces, like Bethany said, going back and look in the mirror and really knowing self, having a true knowledge of the self to know that, yeah, I think my ego is getting in the way, or, you know, I picture you, Sifu, with those sharp, you know, knife sticks. I don't know the actual name of them, but you know what I'm talking about. Seeing you with those things, and it's like if I walk in the room and the first thing I see is you over in the corner and you're sweating, you're doing that. I don't see ego. I see that's a bad dude right there. You know, now if you start opening your mouth saying, yeah, come on over here, T, or I'm gonna kick your, you know what, I'm the man in here, I run this crap, I'm this, that, and the third, then yeah, that speaks for itself. But yeah, I love the conversation, you all. And you know, I'm just looking at the chat, man, and one word that just popped out was humility. The counterbalance, as you were saying, Joe, to ego is humility. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all think that's true, accurate? What William Chapman said in the chat?
I love that. I think that when you harness your ego, that is somebody that knows their worth, because they don't have to virtue signal all the time. They don't have to, have people looking at them all the time. They're okay in the quiet moments. And then you have the other side where you have the bullies, and that's the group, I guess we can group them, but they just don't know their worth. And that's why they have to act like that, because they have to put themselves above other people, because they don't have that within themselves. They don't have that intrinsic motivation. They don't have that self-love. And I feel like when you have that and you know your worth, that is when you can control your ego, because you don't have to have somebody else be over somebody else to make yourself feel better. You don't have to dominate. You don't have to have any other person saying good job, because you know for you. And I think that is controlling your ego and commanding your ego.
Enough said. I don't even need to add anything. Bethany is spot on with all of that. I love it.
I think, and I love what Coach Teo said earlier. In the military, we have to have ego. And I think what I took away from that is that we have to become proficient at what we're supposed to do at the moment. So if that's ego, then yes, I have lots of it, right? Because every day I work on me first before I can help anyone else. So if you want to talk about stacking ego, I stacked it this morning when I woke up in prayer. Actually, I woke up 2 hours before I was supposed to get up, and I was like, okay, God, thank you. I'm up. Let me say my prayers. Let me hit the gym. Let me go wash. I washed my car. It was before most people are up in the morning. So I was doing all these things, right? I went and got gas, all these things. So I was stacking, if you're going to call it ego, to improve me so that I can share the gifts that God has given me with others. And every time when you talked about you in the military, you need to be the best that there is. And today I was also, because I coach speakers, and I was coaching a speaker who's going to be giving a speech tomorrow. And I was telling them that before they get on that stage, they do have to feel this immersive gift that they have. And they have to say to themselves, out of the 25 speakers, 30 speakers, whatever how many speakers are going to be on stage, I am the best one here, so that they have clarity into why they're there. I was chosen to be on this stage, and I need to be the best possible speaker because my message needs to be heard. My message needs to impact others. So why? It's not ego. It's you need to be the best possible one on that stage because your message has to impact. And you have to believe in that 100%. So if that's ego, run with it. Because I cannot impact you if I didn't build me.
It's the service of others. With the military, it's you're serving your country and you're serving the men and women that are next to you that are doing the same mission. For that speaker, it's serving the audience, providing that message, providing that value. I do a similar practice anytime I get on stage to do a keynote or workshop, which is I remind myself it's not about me. I want to be the best. I want to do a kick-ass job, but I'm here to deliver that message. And I use that same philosophy in all of the leadership work I do, and really every walk of life that I do. How can I leave someone? How can I leave a situation? How can I leave a project a little bit better each time from an interaction I have? And so, to your point, Sifu, maybe we can consider that ego and we can definitely consider that confidence that we want to do an exceptional job because we can do an exceptional job. But it's when you flip that lens, not for myself, but for the service of others. And that's where I've really loved the term servant leadership. That's what has been the through line since high school for me. And so that's always been my lens. And again, maybe that makes me egotistical that I'm always trying to serve others. But I think at the end of the day, are we leaving people a little bit better through our actions?
That's why you're here. That's why you're on unified leadership, brother. Like we love leadership. We're leadership junkies, man. Like in every dealing to the best of our ability, Joe. To the best of our ability. You know, Sifu and I, we came together, we said, hey man, we both love leadership. We both love serving others. We both, love the Lord with all our heart, mind, and soul. We're out here coaching people. Uh, and we say it all the time, man, like who motivates the motivator? Who coaches the coach? Who leads the leader? And him and I together collectively, we were like, hey man, let's run with it. And let's talk about the things that are not talked about as often. Because we could all get on Google right now. We could all get on Chat GPT right now. We could type it in. And it's gonna give us all of the fluffy, just feel good leadership. You do this and it's perfect. And we know that's not true. That's not true, bro. We've all suffered in our own way from ego. It may not be on a stage in front of people. It may be with your spouse. It may be with your children. It may be at the community center that you visit every blue moon. Who knows? But us four, we could all collectively together know that like I said earlier, we've harnessed it. We have figured it out. Before we go on stage, we know it's not about me, bro. It's everybody that's sitting here that paid their money or somehow moseyed in here to take something away that they can go implement. If they can't go away and implement, I won't say it's a waste of time, but what are we really doing? So, man, ego, man. It's, from the military standpoint, again, you all, I just want to clarify this because people will go back and watch this. They really will. C4 and I, we check the numbers, man. We look at the analytics. We go back and we see throughout the week different people watching and chiming in. And some come on, they just want to hear what Bethany has to say. Those other three knuckleheads, whatever. What does Bethany have to say? And vice versa. But for the military perspective, the ego is a real thing, like you said, Sifu. A lot of other branches of service think Marines are very arrogant. You guys think you all are the best, and as if like the Navy doesn't do anything or the Air Force or whatever. But if you get a bunch of Marines in the room, like I said before, that ego is harnessed under one major umbrella. that we know that we are the best. And we take that to heart, man. We're America's 911 force. Wherever we go, hey, we're the first to fight. And that's what we're going to do. And we train for that every single day, which goes back to what Sifu was saying. And as coaches, leadership gurus that we are, we all know you can smell that ego being pointed in the wrong direction when you smell it. We all know it. Like, yeah, that's like Bethany said at the top of the hour. Yeah, that's that guy. That's that gal. All across the Marine Corps, there's posters of that guy. Like literally, soon as the entry Marines come into the unit, Joe, they see these pictures up on the wall of that guy. Don't be that guy, because we harp on leadership. We know how important it is. In order to be an effective leader, you have to control the ego because it's there. And if you have a spiritual relationship with the Lord, I was reading Proverbs last night, you all,
Mm.
and my father always told me, son, um, Proverbs, Proverbs helps you work on your mindset. Study Proverbs, son. And man, I've been digging in it, and last night as I was reading it, uh, it was talking about the tongue, the power of the tongue, and how the words that come out of our mouth is the difference between life and death. It really is. And on that egotistical side of it, that tongue a lot of times is what gets us in trouble. So, and I love it. Love the conversation.
I love the phrase feed your ego,
Mhm.
because you get to decide what you're going to feed it. Just like what
Wow.
Sifu is saying, if you fill of yourself with the things that are going to make it so that you're going to be able to feed others more, that is the correct way to feed your ego. By filling of yourself so that you are a better person and that you can show up for the people that are around you even better. That is feeding your ego correctly, rather than looking for all of the compliments and the gold stars and
Mhm.
the outside saying, oh, you're so good. Like, that's not the right ego feeling, because just like everything, it starts with us. And we get to decide how we feed our ego.
I love that, especially when we go for that position, we go for that title, we go for that award, and then we don't get it. And it's, well, was it about those things or was it about the impact? I love
And
working with high school students and
that,
starting off telling them, I was a terrible leader in high school because I only cared about the position, I only cared about the award. And when I would get there, I would coast. And it took me many years through high school into college to recognize that I was trying to feed my ego in the wrong way. It's not about getting to be president of a club or an organization or becoming CEO and then saying, look at me, I made it, I'm done. It's the work that gets you there that's important. It's the work you do before you have that title, before you get that award. And if you're feeding that work into yourself, then as you said, Bethany, it just creates this positive feedback loop where we can continue to serve others so much more.
Yes.
I got to tell you, Coach Tio is going to be speaking in Tampa. He's going to be on our stage in Tampa this next week. But when he was in New York and it was his time to speak, he gave accolades to other people. I was one of them, and I was a little bit taken back because I did not expect it. And he took time away from his speech to give accolades to two of us, right? And it goes to show how he took the time to acknowledge other people. He took the time to share his heart on stage. And it wasn't about him. And we are talking about ego, but he had zero ego. If anything, he poured his heart into that stage. And every time I've ever seen him speak, man,
Yeah,
it
bro.
hit home because he's for real. And here's the crazy thing, right? Because he spoke at one of our events, he was also invited to go speak at a high school in the Bronx. Was it the Bronx?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
the
the
Bronx,
Bronx.
where his message was so well received that obviously they're going to have him back. But he was paid to do that as well, right? So think about it. One effect of showing your heart will get you paid. But he didn't do it to get paid. He did it because of who he is. Because every time I see him get on any stage, it's not about, look at me, look how great I am. He's always giving accolades to others. And that is somebody who's incredible. So I just want to shout out to you, brother.
Man, well, thank you, man. And you know what that means to me, bro, because it's like I said, man, it's Joe just said it, man. The impact. The impact means more, man. I don't care what anyone says. For Timothy O'Neill Clay is the T.O. Timothy O'Neill, man, it's the impact. And again, as Joe was saying, Sifu, uh, I've received the awards and I've got the pats on the back and I've heard the you're amazings, you know, as a Marine. Like the Marine Corps does an excellent job at awarding and keeping us chasing the rabbit, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Chasing the rabbit, man, until you just can't go anymore. And I did that, man. I made a career out of it over 2 decades and walking away. My biggest thing was I need to find my tribe, man. I need to find my community. I need to find the people that are like-minded, that I'm in alignment with, and continue to serve. You know, like we were saying, man, it's about serving. And I found that in you, Seafood. I found that in Lancelot, Jose, Dr. Reed, Emilio, so many great leaders, you know, across the board. And anytime we are in a collective, as in Tampa, as in New York City, Atlanta, wherever we are, uh, it feels good to have the opportunity. You know, Joe said it earlier, man. Having that privilege to speak to the youth, man, is really a privilege. Because as Bethany was saying earlier, like they're still trying to shape, they're still trying to figure out, they're still trying to do exactly what we did. You know, Joe's not afraid to sit here on this platform and say, "Hey, pretty much in high school, I sucked." You know, I can say the same thing. Like when I started as a Marine,
We
I
all did.
sucked, and I was told every day, "Hey, Marine, you suck." You know, get off the grass, walk on the sidewalk, Marine. You know, you literally shoulders slump walking around like I suck. But if you believe in yourself and you stick with it and you start to understand again that it's not about me. It's how can I be effective to others, then it's special. So that opportunity in the Bronx, shout out to Wings Academy. If you've ever seen the movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman, I'm being real. Like when I walked in that school, Bethany, I that's the vibe I felt. You know, I got off the subway in the Bronx by the Bronx Zoo. I walked down to the school. I walked in, it's metal detectors and students was looking at me as they were walking down the halls like, who's this clown? But again, ego. Again, the ego of I know why I'm here. I know what I've experienced. I know what I've been through, and I know what I bring to the table. And I'm here to serve. I'm not here to hurt you, young man or young lady. I've come all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, to be with my brother Sifu and the rest of our family, uh, and I'm here, and I want to be able to pour back into you all uh, successful attributes, you know, that hopefully you'll take and move with. So uh, it's a beautiful thing, you all unified leadership, and before we go any further, as the co-host of this show, thank you too. You know, Wiser with Joe, man, Thriving by Nature. Like just hearing those two, I already know what you're doing every single day. You're pouring into people, you're making it happen. And again, we have to, as coaches, check ourselves, man. We have to check our ego. We have to listen. If the biggest lesson learned for me in 2025 was just listening, man. And as more I would listen to some of the individuals I work with, you know, it would be simple tweaks. Just, well, it's your ego. And how they take that, you know, Joe's just being real. Like I had a young man out in Seattle. He just took over, you know, a leadership position. And it was all about him. And I said, bro, they're not gonna follow you to the top of the mountaintop, bro, because you're a self-licking ice cream cone. And he was like, excuse me? I said, you are a self-licking ice cream cone. And he didn't, you know, take that too harsh. But I said, man, if you're leading people and you get to the top of that hill, man, and you turn around and nobody's there, who did you really lead? And that was the necessary tweak to really get him Sifu to start moving in the right direction, man. And but again, it was just listening to him and really deciphering that, hey, man, he has an ego issue, and if he really wants to transform, break through, you know, hopefully he'll take this to heart. So, man, I love this topic, man. It's a great topic, man. It really is.
You know what? We have to make sure that he listens to the show, if not now on replay, right?
Yes, I'm gonna send it to him. Trust me.
But a lot of people don't do certain things that are required of them because of their ego. They're too good for something. I'm not going to go to this place because you know, they don't even deserve me. Whoa, who are you, right? So I think that a lot of times when we, Coach Theo, you came to my place. Did you see any trophies at my place? I
Bro,
competed
it's
internationally.
like a shrine up in there, man.
No trophies though. No
No
trophies.
trophies,
Weapons.
but
Weapons,
man,
yes.
legacy,
Not here.
yes. Legacy, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm not one. And listen, I've been giving plaques and awards and all this stuff. And if you come up and even if you go into my offices, you see none of that. And there's no trophies, and it's not because I don't appreciate them. I appreciate the moments that I receive them. That means to me more than the actual piece of, I'm going to say it, plastic, glass, ceramic, whatever it is that a trophy comes as. And it's the people that matter to me, the memory, right? And the impact that I was able to create for someone to even acknowledge me and even give me a trophy. So for me, it's not the materialistic part of earning it. It was the process of earning it. And so for me, that's why I have a lot of people that are like, is this a martial arts school? Or this is like cozy. What was my place cozy?
Absolutely, brother.
Because
It's
I
beautiful,
want people to
beautiful
feel
place, man.
invited. I want them to feel like they're at home. And when we can make someone else feel comfortable in our environment, I think that's one of the things that we sometimes lack. When you go somewhere and it's about them, right? You ever walked into a place, or even a martial arts school, and all you see is pictures and pictures of the master only? There's no student pictures. There's nothing like that. And who are we here? Is it a shrine to that master? If you saw any pictures, I think there's one picture of me when I was doing a particular pose, but all the other pictures is me with other people, right? And for me, it's about giving credit where credit is due, right? And I got to tell you, Joe, I just met you recently, and I am so thrilled that you said yes, right?
Yeah, bro.
And Bethany, you and I are getting closer. You've been on so many of my shows. I am so blessed to know you, because every time you come on, you throw these nuggets out there. And
Yeah,
like
man.
I'm collecting them. I'm collecting them. Like I need a bigger pouch now, Bethany.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Where
I want
where
to
are
share
you
one thing with
located?
you guys before we go. Before we go, hang on. I want to share this with you guys because we
Okay,
are doing
okay.
something special in March, right?
Let's move. Let's lead. Let's ride. Unify leadership. Light the flame. Turn it up loud. Remember the name. Leadership. Power and pride. We don't just talk, we testify. Leadership. Heart and grind. Purpose and rhythm. Perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy. Purpose and rhythm. Purpose and rhythm. Perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy. Crowd on sway. Culture clay. Truth and play. Sifu, Rafael. Calm control. Leaders in sync. Hearts of gold. Focus sharp. The mission clear. Every step forward. Silence the fear.
Boom, that's happening. March
Yeah,
13th and 15th in New York, right? And the reason we wanted to do that, Coach Theo and I, is because we want to impact the leaders that'll be in the rooms. And it's not a typical type of event. It's an actual workshop. It's a 3-day workshop. When was the last time you went to a 3-day workshop? I know, Bethany, you have many of those.
I do.
I know you do.
I was at one recently. So
So we have, a good 8 minutes. What's one thing that every one of you would like for someone to take away from this show? Something that maybe you thought about, but you haven't said yet. I'm curious.
Bethany, you want to kick us off?
okay. Because I have all sorts of thoughts all the time. I really want to emphasize that even what I do in my coaching, I have been a Montessori educator for 23 years. I've been in the teaching space. I've owned a school. I understand the way that we develop, and I understand the way that this ego develops and how important it is as they're developing it to nurture it in the correct way. So as they become young adults and ready to spread their wings in the world, they're able to really understand themselves. And because they've already created that motivation within themselves and the purpose behind themselves and that love for themselves. And I can't stress enough, if you have young adults down, let them know how special they are so that they don't have to flex. I don't know what the word is, because right now we are in a world and a society where we are looking for the outward. We're in an egotistical world. And so for these people that are developing and these children and even young adults, this is what we're teaching them, is that your worth is nothing and you have to continue to be this egotistical, terrible person without any leadership skills, because all you need to do is for the heart, the thumbs up, the likes. You need to have this constant input from everybody else to feel worthy. And that's not true. And so if I can say anything, is just let people know how valuable they are. Just like what you were doing, Coach Theo, with Sifu in your speaking. When you let people know how valuable they are, that matters so much more than an artificial thumbs up. And that's what I wanted to say.
Wow, I love that. I probably should not have let her go first because now I have to follow up after that. For me, it's all about the why. I purposely have wiser with a why because that's how we always need to start. That's how we should start. Understanding for ourselves why we think the way we think, why we do the things we do, why we're focused on sometimes those titles and those roles and those awards. And when we can take the time to unpack that, especially I always encourage, find a friend, find a coach, find someone that can help you unpack that. That's when we start aligning towards more of that humility, more of that impact, more of actually trying to make a difference, not for ourselves, but for our community and for others. And so I challenge also the leaders that are listening to do that for others as well. I talked about sometimes we see that person who we think is egotistical, who always talks first, who's always on the stage. That might be coming out of fear. That might be coming out of unworthiness. That might be coming out of just never being told, as Bethany said, that you are a good person, that you have value. And so, as leaders, I challenge you to create that space, find time, ask the questions of the people in your life. They don't have to be an employee, they don't have to be someone on your team, they can be a friend. Why? Why do you care? Why do you do the things you do? And then, more importantly, how can I support you in your journey? And so, when we start with the why, that's really the foundation we can build.
I love that. Yeah. Why you matter, right? I want to bring this up, and I want to answer this question, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of words, and here's my advice: contact Coach Teo. That's it.
That's awesome, man.
Because
Wow.
he demonstrates, and a lot of times when we want to learn, sometimes the best teacher is the one that's doing it, not the one that's saying it. And so when I said contact Coach Teo, is because he's doing it. He transitioned from the military, where everybody has to have the biggest ego, because yes, your ego is going to protect those around you. But now he transitioned into the civilian world, if you will. But I said the reason I want you to contact him, and I would even hire him, right? And it's not about the money, it's about that you want the best that he has. So why not hire him so he can devote some time to you and help with that transition that you need? And goes for everybody, right? Every one of us can be hired by somebody who needs what we have to offer. But don't hire us because of our name or our title. Hire us because of what we do, the actions we take every day, because that speaks way more volumes than me saying to you, go do this. And meanwhile, I've never done it. That would be horrendous. So I always lead by example. And anybody that I train to be an instructor, if they can't lead by example, then they're not going to be a good instructor. So contact Coach Teo.
It's awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and absolutely, please contact me. Because it's different, man. It really is. William Chapman, it's different. Just like Okinawa, Japan is different from here in America. It's different when you leave the military and you're back out here in the land of sometimes that feels nobody cares. We say it within the ranks, like, hey, nobody cares. Grab your pack and let's go. Same thing out here, in its own way, but you have the foundation. You have an impeccable foundation, um, in terms of leadership, in terms of experience, expertise, all those good things. And your aptitude for success, man, is going to go back to what Coach Bethany said, man. It's you. It's the internal. It's how you're willing to continue to work you, and not from an egotistical standpoint, but more so from a the healthier I am, the more better I could serve. The more ground rooted I am, the more better I could serve. And keyword being serve, keyword being impact. and being in alignment with God, man. I know everybody is not that, but I would say, man, like your personal relationship with the Creator uh, is a hidden cheat code in its own way, and will really help you. But all in all, I appreciate again, Bethany, Joe, for you all being here. Uh, I feel so much better on this Friday, rolling into the weekend. Uh, sharpening the blade, man. Anytime you can hear other leaders just sharpening that blade, it's a beautiful thing. So, Sifu, brother, you already know what it is. Uh, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm looking forward to hugging you, looking you in your eyes, telling you how much I love you, man. And we keep the journey moving. The train's still moving, brother. And unified leadership, man, March the 13th through the 15th. If you could get there. Because it's not a sales pitch, man. It's real leaders getting in the room and doing what real leaders do. It's the sounding board. It's the laboratory. And that's where we get together. And man, when we all collectively walk out of there, we're going back to our normal outfits and we're so much better for it. Because again, it's our assignment. It's what we're here to do. So one thing that I haven't said is, man, I love you all. That's simple. I love you all. I don't have to see you every single day. If Sifu met you, Joe, I feel like I met you. And let's connect, man. Please, let's connect.
Definitely.
And keep bouncing ideas, keep sharpening one another. And same goes for you, Bethany. I appreciate you. Your perspective is immaculate. Montessori schools, you see all angles of it, and I need to pick your brain about some things. So I'm gonna contact you as well offline, and let's get together, you all. But again, I love you all, and life is short, man. I posted a picture of my grandparents 2 days ago. I dropped an old black and white photo in the chat GPT, said, "Do your thing," and it spit it out. And I posted it. And I didn't use chat GPT for the narrative. I spoke from the spirit on it. And man, my family all across the United States, man, they've been blessed from it. And I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful because it brought some of my family members out of the woodworks that just normally they're not saying much or haven't seen them in a while. And just to see the cross pollination of them talking about, I love each other and we love each other and can't wait to see you again. And it's special, man. So the last piece of that, I said, man, reach out to someone you haven't spoke to in a while and just tell them you love them. And I'm telling you three on this screen, everybody out listening, viewing, rocking with us, unified leadership, man, I love you. Appreciate you, Sifu.
Appreciate you. Do me a favor, everybody. Share this episode with somebody who needs to hear the messages that were delivered today, because you never know the impact that it may hit someone. We don't know what somebody's going through. They may look great on the outside, but inside somebody may be struggling with something. And if we can be of help, if any messages that were delivered today can help them, let's do it. Right? Takes team, takes unified leadership to get others to shine their light. God bless you, everybody. Thank you all for being here with us. You guys hang on for a minute. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, and then we'll chat in the green room. Everybody, God bless.
Unify leadership. Let's move. Let's lead. Let's ride. Unify leadership. Like the flame, turn it up loud. Remember the name. Unify leadership.